What's up, everyone? It's Greg Landsman.
I'm Marc Veasey.
Welcome back to the New Dem podcast, The Fly-In. Today, we're going to get into the very problematic jobs report and a Trump inner circle throwdown here in D.C. with the Secretary of Treasury clearly upset with just how bad their economy is. He threatened to punch another Trump official in the face. So we're going to break down that story, which was reported today by Politico. We have an excellent guest in Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan. She's here today. But let's get into what Politico reported today. This is a story from Rachel Bade. Is that it?
Bade.
I just want to read a few things from this story. This dramatic clash between two of Trump's top economic officials, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, at one point threatening to punch top housing finance official Bill, is it Pulte? Pulte? All right. I don't know the guy, but he's in charge of a very important piece of the United States government.
And he has 3 million Twitter followers.
Yes. I mean, this is a 37-year-old guy. Why is he in charge of housing financing, public housing financing? Because he has 3 million
Twitter.
3 million followers on Twitter. Bessent said to him, I'm going to punch you in the quote, in the fucking face. This happened at this ultra-exclusive Georgetown club created by and for Trump world's, the Trump world's uber wealthy, so that they can have greater access to the Trump administration. And it was like a cabinet meeting. You had the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, Howard Lutnick was there, Doug Berman, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard was there. And as they were sitting down, Bessent said, quote, "Why the fuck are you talking to the president about me? Fuck you. I'm going to punch you in the fucking face." Now, it sounds awful and bizarre.
And bougie. It sounds bougie.
Very bougie.
Yeah.
Very bougie. Yes, the fancy club.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is my favorite part of the story. The scene was described to me by one eyewitness and 4 other people. The only fact they disagreed on was who initiated it. This is completely crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And look, the jobs numbers suck. And I'm sure that he's very frustrated over that. This whole tariff deal is wreaking havoc in the economy, and people don't trust this president. I mean, by overwhelming numbers when it comes to the American economy now. But I also think that, we have to talk about this. I mean, this is Bessent's second brush up, right? Like, remember him?
He got in a huge fight with Musk.
He got into a fight with Musk at the White House.
And this isn't just some random person in the administration. This is the guy in charge of the Treasury.
Right.
He's in charge of the economy.
Right.
And the economy is falling off a cliff, in large part because of what he, Lutnick, and the president are doing on tariffs, on just destroying the federal workforce. And we're going to talk to Jennifer McClellan about that because she represents so many federal. But one more line. The confrontation, which even Trump insiders called bonkers and unhinged, underscores the surprising tension between top Trump officials tasked with working on the nation's most sensitive economic matters. These two got into it over firing the Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, and they got into it over firing whether or not to fire the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. That, to me, is really very relevant because so much of what's driving the economic chaos is their uncertainty, their chaos.
Right. And I know that people's first inclination when reading about something like this, they're going to say, oh no, don't be distracted. They're trying to distract you because Trump is doing all these other things with ICE and all these other organizations. But I will tell you that, for me, being a black elected official, being a black member of Congress, if me or any other member of the CBC, particularly any black male, because of the way that black men are stereotyped as violent, we would not get away with this. And I think about January the 6th. Again, if that had been a liberal or a left group of mostly black men that had stormed the Capitol,
very different outcome.
There would be no pardons. And the way that we accept violence in this country from people that are conservative and people that are white male is something that, that we need to have conversations about and we're not. But this would not be tolerated if I were doing it.
So I want to talk a little bit more about this,
Yeah.
particularly in the context of the jobs report, and do so with our guest, Jennifer McClellan.
Yeah.
All right, here to discuss the jobs report, Secretary Bessent's throwdown here in D.C., and a few other things, is Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan from Virginia. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, in addition to being my seatmate in committee and having to deal with my antsiness and the fact that I can't sit still, we're both on energy and commerce. Well, we're all on energy and commerce, but she has to sit next to me.
Yeah.
You are also a leadership member of the New Dems coalition.
Yes.
Here in this Congress, and one of my favorite people. 3 things that people should know about you.
Well, I am a mom. I'm one of only 6.8% of members of Congress who's a mom to kids under 18. The second thing people should know about me is I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious, and anything I'm curious about, I like to know everything there is to know about it. And I have a near photographic memory.
Yeah, it's very hard to speak before you in committee. I mean, I'm glad that it's not after, but it's like the fact that it's right next to you, because I get up and of course I'm, pretty basic, and and people are like, oh, that's pretty good, and then McClellan goes off, and it's like people are like, wow, that was incredibly helpful and informative.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm curious. Speaking of that, like one of the things that really have impressed me during your tenure on ENC is your knowledge of the founding fathers and early, colonial period here in the United States as the nation was being formed. Is what got you into that? Is it just because you're from Richmond and so much of the history of the United States starts in Virginia? How did you become so well versed in that? Because it's funny, it drives the Republicans crazy.
It does drive them crazy when I have a lot of fun with that. But part of it is, you can't grow up in the Commonwealth of Virginia and not be steeped in history. We were the birthplace of American democracy.
Yeah.
We were the birthplace of American slavery. We've been on the right side and the wrong side of history so many times, and usually a leader. And so you do get a lot of that in school, but I think the bigger thing was my parents were older than my friends' parents. I was the oops baby. And so they grew up during Jim Crow, during the New Deal. And my dad in particular was a huge history buff. So when we were kids, he would take us to Monticello and Mount Vernon and Jamestown and Williamsburg and all of these things. And that made history come alive in a way that the books didn't. I found that stories are way more powerful than statistics and talking points. And I'm a storyteller at heart, I think.
Yeah.
If I wasn't in Congress, I'd either be, writing the great American novel, or acting it out.
Speaking of statistics, though, I want to get your take on the Bessent story, but sort of what is sort of behind the Bessent story, and that is the jobs report and this economy that is slowly but very visibly falling apart.
Dismal job report.
The economy, the latest job report showed that the economy added just 22,000 jobs in August, less than a third of the expected total. They had to revise downward the June number, where they actually lost 13,000 jobs right after Trump's tariff announcements. It's the first negative employment month since the depths of the pandemic. And so if you think about the pandemic, it was a global pandemic that drove economic slowdown, and a recession. It's now one man. This is man-made, or Trump and Bessent and the rest of them. And for the first time in 4 years, unemployed workers outnumber available jobs. And the job openings in the private sector decreased for the second month in a row. Overall thoughts and the impact on federal workers, because in this is the fact that he's taken a sledgehammer to the federal workforce.
That's exactly right. And here's the scary fact is those numbers don't yet account for all of the workers that took the buyout who were paid to stay at home through the end of September.
Because I was going to say that's September, October, right?
That's right. And so even more are coming. And it's hit Virginia particularly hard. We have, I think, the second highest number of federal employees. And in June, for the first time, our unemployment numbers went up. We were the only state where the unemployment numbers went up. They continue to go up. And it's, and our governor, became Governor LinkedIn and basically was like, oh, we have all these new jobs you can take. But actually, no, because the private sector is also affected by all of the uncertainty created by the tariff policy or Medicaid cuts or any other policy that's happened. And so a lot of the private sector jobs are either frozen because they don't know what's going to happen, or in some cases, you're beginning to see healthcare providers close.
Jennifer, let me ask you, because Greg talked a lot about your district and how federal jobs in particular are impacted your district, and I know that Democrats said we're focused on keeping the government open. Republicans are in charge, and they're saying and signaling that they don't really want to work with us on this. But talk to me a little bit about how, if this funding runs out on September 30th, how it's going to particularly impact your district.
Before I do that, though, I want to reiterate something that you said, and that is, it is not up to Democrats whether there's a government shutdown.
That's right.
It is the Republicans control the White House, the House, and the Senate, and they have made clear from day one they don't need us,
right,
and that they're in charge.
Yeah.
So it's ultimately going to be up to them. Now, if there is a government shutdown, Virginia is going to be hit particularly hard. We are already facing a high number of people who are unemployed. But the ones that are still working, if they're going to get furloughed, that's even more uncertainty. And I think the bottom line for everybody is look at all of the chaos that you have seen since this president has tried to freeze funding, whether it is funding for cancer research, whether it is funding for Head Start programs that means like this nursery school can or cannot open on a given day. Think of all of the chaos you've seen already and then multiply it times 10.
Before we get out of here, I want to go through a couple of headlines. Let's start with Sesame Street, which was just hit by Republican cuts in the PBS funding cuts. They just announced that they will upload hundreds of their episodes to YouTube. So, what's your favorite show? What's your favorite PBS show?
My favorite PBS
Yeah.
show? Current or of all time?
I think either one.
It would have to be Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grew up
Mark?
with Mr. Rogers.
My current growing up was definitely Sesame Street. No doubt about that. My favorite right now is the Henry Louis Gates show about finding your roots. I love that show. I think that show was amazing.
Yeah, it's an incredible show, and each time he has somebody different, and they're remarkable guests.
Yeah.
And then the stories are
The stories
My
are amazing.
sister wants me to get famous enough to be on there. So if you're watching,
Yeah, Dr. Gates.
All right. Number 2, prices continue to rise. When you go home, what's the commodity or the thing that you hear most about in terms of prices?
it's actually 3: ground beef,
Oh yeah.
chicken,
Yep.
and by extension eggs, and electric bills.
Democratic member of Congress Ro Khanna and Republican member of Congress Thomas Massie recently found bipartisan common ground on the effort to release the Epstein files. What's your favorite bipartisan achievement so far?
So
That you're proudest of?
it's a nerdy one, but it's not finished yet, and I don't want to jinx it.
All right.
But so last Congress, I passed through the House a bill that would create a celestial standard time.
Oh, that's not nerdy at all. This is
And
important. Lives are at stake. I mean, it really is.
They are actually. If we travel beyond the moon, the millisecond difference between how time works on the moon and Earth and other celestial planets could be the difference between life and death. But it passed the House on a bipartisan basis, died in the Senate, but the Senate have put it in their NASA reauthorization bill. And my bill has gotten out of the House Science, Space, and Technology Committee unanimously. So I think this time I might get it.
All right, last one. The one big beautiful bill, which I've always called sort of the massive mega spending bill, because they're spending $4.5 trillion.
Yeah.
Huge healthcare cuts to pay for tax breaks for the wealthy. They're trying to rebrand it because it's underwater. It's one of the most unpopular bills ever, and I'm curious what you would call it. If you were in charge of rebranding it, what would...
Other than the one big ugly law.
Yeah.
Everybody calls it.
Yeah. Well, you can call it that. Is that what you would...
I mean, that's what I do call it, but I would probably rebrand it the one big billionaire bonus.
Yeah. I mean, it is remarkable how much the wealthy in this, millionaires and billionaires in particular, how much they get.
Yeah.
And how much is taken away from average folks.
Oh, yeah. It's a transfer of federal investment from the bottom 10% of earners to the top 10%.
The largest transfer, right?
In American history, that's right. That's exactly.
Yeah, crazy.
All right, we're going to get into the clip of the week, and then we'll let you go.
Okay.
All right, here's the clip.
You tell the head of the CDC that if she refused to sign off on your changes to the childhood vaccine schedule, that she had to resign?
No, I told her that she had to resign because I asked her, are you a trustworthy person? And she said no.
Wow.
All right, so that was obviously from RFK's, blockbuster hearing. I think it was a 3-hour hearing over in the Senate. Last week we had him in our committee. What's your take? Your reaction? Because you hadn't seen it.
I had not seen it. I purposefully don't watch him because I grew up admiring his father, and I think
The family.
I'm extraordinarily sad at what he is doing to his father's legacy and what he's doing to the healthcare infrastructure. And every time I hear him talk, there's like this extraordinary disconnect between what he says he wants to do to make America healthy again and the fact that people are going to die because of him. And he's
Not well.
not well.
No.
He's not well, and he's in charge of the American public health system. He obviously was talking there about the firing of the head of the CDC, but he was also asked about vaccines. He couldn't say whether or not he knew how many people died. He obviously raised questions about the efficacy, and more people, might have died from the vaccine than from COVID itself. I mean, it's just, it's bananas. But again, it comes back to the chaos and the uncertainty that people need from their economy and from public health systems and leaders.
And the impact of what they're doing on our healthcare system is going to impact the economy in a number of ways. I spent the entire recess going around to a whole lot of different healthcare providers. And I was at one academic hospital talking about, they're like, look, we already have a workforce shortage. We're already facing all of these cuts. Now, if my nurses start getting sick because people aren't vaccinated, what am I supposed to do? And how am I supposed to, provide healthcare to people? And I think there are all of these different dots of bad that we need to start connecting the cascading effect that it's going to have not only on the American economy and the health of Americans, but everybody's everyday life.
All right, so we have some breaking news. All right, hold on. We're not out of here yet. Oh, wow. Ugh. Okay. So this has just been reported or released by the Oversight Committee, the love letter, the birthday note that Trump sent to Epstein. Thoughts? Emotions?
It's just so... I thought I could not be shocked by anything anymore. Boy, was I wrong. I mean, first of all, that's the thing that so-called didn't exist.
He sued the Wall Street Journal, saying that they broke the law because it doesn't exist, and they said it exists. That's how confident or determined he was
and yet
to convince the American people it didn't exist.
And this was turned over by the Epstein estate. So it's like, what else
Correct.
are they hiding?
So the Epstein estate gave this to a Congressional Oversight Committee, which released it today.
I never thought I miss the days when the biggest scandal a president had was he wore a tan suit and put his feet up on the.
But that was the
president's
most recent.
desk.
I'm not sure that was the biggest one, but that was the most recent one.
Yeah, but I miss the days when that was what people were upset about.
Sad part about that is that in these documents, we know that Trump is mentioned, at least my understanding is multiple times. It's not just this one drawing, right? Like there are multiple mentions of him. And at the bottom line is that he does not want these documents released because this is probably just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah,
and
and
whatever else is in there
Well, he did want them released until
he figured out he was in them.
until he found out.
Yeah, and I think part of it is that he was in them, and he wants to protect himself, and so hence the cover up. And then I just think there are people in finance, people in politics, people in other sectors of business. They're in here, and these are people who are very close to this president, presumably, and he's protecting them too. But there's clearly a cover-up or an effort to protect the super wealthy and super powerful at the expense of these victims.
Yeah.
All right.
I hope
That'll
there
do
are
it.
enough people, and I agree
Yeah,
with
me
you
too.
that there's
Yeah.
I hope there are enough people to be like enough is enough.
I mean, for the victims. If
Exactly.
no one else.
Exactly.
Okay. We're going to get out of here. Jennifer, again, thank you,
Thank you.
so much. And thank you all for joining us this week. Before we take off, please remember to follow us across social media platforms, to rate and review the show wherever you get podcasts. We want to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you.
Adios.